How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, January 7th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to do an individual profile on Jan Oblak. The elite Slovenian goaltender for Atletico Madrid turns 29 today, and my intention with this episode is, of course, to point out where he's been able to dominate on the game at the international soccer game on a micro level, how he does it game in and game out, considering there are very few players that can occupy occupy the spots of being a very crucial role for a very small handful of top tier teams in the world. So of course, being one of those top goalies, and you know that Jan Oblak is up there. And of course, we're going to zoom out and give a sense of what he's been able to do on the macro level to impact the game and the way that he plays. If you're familiar with Jan Oblak, he stands at about 6'2". I guess the way to really describe his goalieing is just that he has incredible reflexes, and I would describe it almost as if he knows where the player is going to shoot right before he shoots it. As you can get a sense of, he really gets a jump on the ball, and I think that's really what gives him that edge. He's really that quick, and there was a moment where he was the world's most expensive goalkeeper, and I still think he's playing at the level that he was when he was given that price tag in the very first place. So, just to get into the background, he's originally from Slovenia. That's where Luka Doncic is from. He would find himself going up to the youth organization until he finally got called up to Olimpia Ljubljana. And through that team, he would assert himself as one of the best young players in Slovenia. I mean, starting over one of their regulars who just saw this teenager come up out of nowhere and basically usurp him for being one of the best players in Slovenia. He would eventually find himself getting signed by Benfica in 2010 when he was just a 17-year-old. And he would, of course, be placed on loan while he was going out to different clubs. In his age 18 season in 2011-2012, in his age 18 season, he got loaned out to play 16 starts for União de Lera. He allowed 29 goals in the 16 starts, so they ended up finishing 16th in the league. In his second year as a loaned out goaltender, he would play for Rio Ave in the Portuguese league, as he started 28 games and helped them finish with the sixth best team in the league. Following his stint at Rio Ave, he will come back to Benfica, and in his final year at Benfica, his loan year at Benfica, he would, in his age 20 season, he started 15 of 16 games where he played. He allowed 5 goals in those 16 matches, as Benfica would, of course, go on to make it, or they would go on to win their title that year. He would also play 4 matchups in a Europa League stint that would eventually see them finish runners-up in the entire thing. They went all the way to Sevilla just to give a sense of how good Jan Oblak was. And the 4 Europa League games he played, he allowed 3 goals, and he finished with 2 clean sheets in the 4 Europa League matches he played. But of course, establishing himself as one of the better goalies in all of Europa League, he would get signed by Atletico Madrid, and he hadn't gone back since. His very first season with Atletico Madrid would be his age 21 season in 2014-2015. In that season, specifically in La Liga, he would start in 11 games, and in those 11 games, he would finish with 6 goals conceded, and he would have 7 clean sheets on the year. Looking specifically at that year, Atletico Madrid would finish 3rd in La Liga that year, as of course they finished behind Barcelona and they finished behind Real Madrid. Of course, that's normally how it goes. They would go on to win the Supercopa de España, however. That is the only title they would win. This was the year where Antoine Griezmann was their leading scorer. And then looking at how they were able to come off of that 2013-14 Spanish Cup win. But in addition to those matchups, he was able to allow 4 goals conceded in the 4 Champions League matchups, as he had 2 clean sheets. And just quickly looking at how they would fare out in Champions League that year, they went all the way to the quarterfinals. Once they got to the quarterfinals, they would end up losing to Real Madrid, who ended up losing to Juventus, who ended up losing to Barcelona at the end. But that was Jan Oblak's first season playing for a Spanish club, one of the top tier clubs in the world. His second year playing for Atletico Atletico was his age 22 season in 2015-2016. And in his very first year as the starter, he would start all 38 games as Atletico Madrid would finish third in La Liga. Specifically in La Liga, he would finish with 17 goals conceded in the 38 matches he played, as he had 24 clean sheets. And of course, that was the year in which he established himself as the most expensive goalkeeper in the world, despite the fact that Slovenia wasn't qualifying for the World Cup or for the Euros. But nonetheless, Atletico Madrid was dominant, especially in that La Liga season. And he would also play 13 matchups in a Champions League stint that would see Atletico Madrid go all the way to the final, where they would end up losing to Real Madrid on penalties. And of course, Oblak being the goalie that conceded the penalties necessary to win, or for them to lose. But at the same time, he was one of the biggest part of the reasons that they were there. Having 24 clean sheets and a full 38-game La Liga season is insane. But following that 2015-16 season, he would return for what will be his third season with the club. In his age 23 season in 2016-17, he would go on to start 30 matchups in a season where Atletico Madrid would finish with the third best record in La Liga for the third year in a row. Taking a look at how Oblak fared in that La Liga season, he would concede 20 goals in the 30 matches he played, as he would finish with 15 clean sheets, making it the second year in a row he finished with a double digit, or at least 15 clean sheets in La Liga, like against the best teams in Spain. He would also compete in 11 matchups in Atletico's Champions League run, where they would end up losing in the semifinals. This year they would fall actually short to Real Madrid for the second year in a row. But within that Champions League run itself, Oblak would finish with 7 goals conceded in the 11 matches he played, as he had 6 clean sheets, making it the second year in a row he's had at least 5 Champions League clean sheets against some of the best sides that this world has ever seen. And following that year, he of course would return to Atletico Madrid for his 4th season there. In his age 24 season in 2017-18, he would start 37 La Liga matchups in a season where they would eventually go on to finish runners-up. 2017-18 was the year that was of course won by Barcelona, after Real Madrid had missed out on Ronaldo for that first season when Ronaldo went out to Juventus. But in the season where they would finish as runners-up in La Liga, he would go on to allow 19 goals, as he would finish with 22 clean sheets. This would be the second time in his career he's finished with at least 20 clean sheets, specifically within La Liga. He would go on to play 6 Champions League matchups, as he allowed 3 goals and 3 clean sheets before they would end up falling to Europa. Once they ended up going to Europa League, they of course would go on, or once they fell to Europa League, they would end up winning Europa League after they went all the way to the final, and then they would end up beating Marseille. So Jan Oblak does have a Europa League title from that 2017-2018 season. And on that run itself, in the 6 matchups he played, he only allowed 2 goals, as he would finish with 4 clean sheets in the 6 matchups he played. And of course, even though it's Europa League is still a continental title, a very big one, a very prestigious one. Following that year, he would return for his 5th season with Atletico Madrid. In his age 25 season in 2018-2019, he would start 37 La Liga matchups yet again, as Atletico Madrid would finish as runners-up this year. And this year in 2018-2019, they would lose to Barcelona again, as they finish ahead of Real Madrid. Within the La Liga season itself, he finished with 26 goals allowed, as he had 20 clean sheets. This would be the 3rd time in a 5-year stretch in which he's had 20 clean sheets, and 4 years in a row where he's had at least 15 clean sheets in a 38-match La Liga season. Taking a look elsewhere, he also conceded 2 goals in the Super Cup matchup, as Atletico Madrid would end up becoming, or they would end up winning that matchup against Real Madrid 4-2. But that was the lone trophy that they won that season. Taking a look at how they fared into how they fared going into Champions League. In 2018-19, Jan Oblak would play 8 matchups in a stretch where Atletico Madrid would go all the way to the round of 16. In the round of 16, Atletico Madrid would find themselves losing to Juventus, who lost to Ajax, who lost to Tottenham, who lost to Liverpool in the final. Following that 2018-2019 season, Jan Oblak would return for his 6th season with the club in 2019-2020. In his age 26 season with Atletico Madrid, he would go on to start all 38 La Liga matchups for the second time in his career. This year, Atletico Madrid would finish 3rd in La Liga behind Real Madrid and Barcelona. Within La Liga itself, he allowed 24 goals as he had 17 clean sheets, making it the 5th consecutive season where he's had at least 15 clean sheets, meaning, or at least with 17, that's really close to half, but that's still a crazy amount of clean sheets within a calendar year. Taking a look at the Champions League, he was able to finish with 9 matches played in an Atletico Madrid stretch that would see them go all the way to the quarterfinals of Champions League, and this was the year where it had to get shortened a little bit due to COVID. They would eventually find themselves losing to RB Leipzig, who lost to PSG, who lost to Bayern Munich eventually in that final, but that would still be one of the better seasons for that Jan Oblak would finish that season with. And following his age 26 season, he would return for 2020-2021 for his age 27 season, and in his 7th year with Atletico Madrid, he would go on to play all 38 matches for the 3rd time in his career, and he would go on to win La Liga for the very first time in his career, at least playing in La Liga in his 7th season doing so. Specifically, in the 38 matchups he played for Atletico last season, the last full season, he would finish allowing 24 goals in 38 matches played as he had 18 clean sheets, making it the 6th consecutive season with at least 15 clean sheets on the year. And he would go on to play 8 Champions League matchups in an Atletico Madrid stretch that would see them go all the way to the round of 16. And in the round of 16, Jan Oblak and Atletico Madrid would end up losing to Chelsea, who ended up winning the entire Champions League tournament. Atletico Madrid was just their very first opponent. And then following that 2021 season, this, of course, leads us to where we are now, officially with Atletico Madrid. Taking a look first at where they're currently sitting, they're still alive in their Copa del Rey table. Right now in La Liga, after winning after winning La Liga last year, Atletico Madrid is sitting 4th in La Liga. They sit 14 points behind first place Real Madrid as they have played 1 less game. They've won 9 games, they've drawn 5, and they've lost 5 as well. And then looking at what he's done so far within the season, he has, in the 19 matchups he started, he has allowed 18 goals and he has 6 clean sheets. And of course, I'm getting all this from Footy Stats. And in addition to that, he's played 6 matchups, group stage matchups for an Atletico Madrid team that would just squeeze their way, of course, into the next round of Champions League. They are getting ready to face off against Manchester United. Their very first game will be played in Atletico because Atletico would finish 2nd in their overall table, and they were in the same table as Liverpool. And then the second matchup for Atletico coming up in Champions League will be in Manchester in March. So, of course, that's what a lot of people are looking forward to. And, of course, that brings us to where we are now, as we are exactly at the midway point of Jan Oblak's what is now age 28, now turning 29 season. But I hope that gives you a better sense of the level of this one dude's impact, as he played for Atletico Madrid for 7 years and once on that 7th year, he was finally able to help them win La Liga. Not to mention, this was the 6th year in a row in which he would finish with at least 15 clean sheets on the year. But of course, this continues until where we are now, and hopefully by this time next year, I'll have a lot more to say about Jan Oblak. I want to thank the Football Reference websites, Transfer Market, Footy Stats. I want to thank the FIFA websites for giving me all the stats and the figures in order to do this episode. And of course, Once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I hope to come back tomorrow on Saturday, January 8th for another episode. So until then, thanks for listening. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. If you ever get a chance to watch Jan Oblak, I would. I don't know who's really watching the Slovenian team, but he's definitely playing for Atletico Madrid in La Liga and in Champions League. Thanks for listening to my piece. I'll catch you with more tomorrow and hopefully more on Jan Oblak next year. Peace out.